one we agreed was people who don't understand their obligations to show up to court after getting maybe a traffic summons, a traffic ticket. Why don't you explain a little bit about that?
Well, first off, that we didn't mention, your driver's license is supposed to have your current address on it.
Very important point.
So when
many people, they leave, they get an apartment, and they never notify the Department of Motor Vehicles,
correct.
for instance.
Or like when some of our kids go off to college or schools and all, and so they'll leave their home address with mom and dad. And that's fine as long as when the subpoena gets to the house, mom and dad understand to accept service. If they don't accept service,
meaning when the sheriff or the constable or whoever knocks on the door, says, "I've got papers for Susie Jones."
Correct.
Mom doesn't say she doesn't live here anymore.
Yeah, if mom says she doesn't live here anymore, and that's the address you have on your driver's license, well then the courts will go ahead and issue an attachment on you if you don't show up on the day that had on that subpoena.
And what does that mean when they issue an attachment?
Well, that's a warrant for your arrest, and then it creates all kind of problems, as mentioned last week. After 30 days, your license is suspended. But at any point in time, if you get stopped for another traffic offense, and they run the computer on you, you'll have an attachment on your name.
So let's say this young person does do something, and maybe they didn't want their parents to find out, but then that day comes when there is that knock on the door, and let's say that parent is just completely flustered, doesn't accept what they're being given, then makes a call to their son or daughter. Their son or daughter has 30 days then to get in touch with law enforcement?
No, not from the time that the subpoena was delivered, but what the date on that subpoena.
Oh, the date, 30 days from the date on the subpoena.
Correct.
Okay.
The subpoena date will tell them when they're due in court.
Okay. So
if mom looks at the date but tells them they don't live here anymore, but then calls their child wherever they're at and said, look, you're supposed to be in court on such a date. Well, as long as they appear on that date, everything's okay. It's not a matter of not getting the subpoena as such. It's a matter of not being in court on the date that's on the subpoena.
That's when you could be held in contempt.
Correct.
Is that right?
And meanwhile, there's still going to be an attachment for your arrest if mom says, if she refuses the service and says you don't live there.
No, not refusing the service, but not showing up on the date that's on the subpoena.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood what you said a minute ago.
Yeah, no, as long as you show up on the date that's on the subpoena, everything's okay.
Very good.
So it's not, mom can say, no, they don't live here anymore. The sheriff makes that notation on the back of his paperwork and puts it in the court record. But as long as they show up on the date that's on that subpoena, they're okay.
Yeah, and by signing, I was just going to say, by signing that though, you're not admitting anything. You're just you're saying that I have received
Correct.
this notice, right?
Correct.
Okay.